Namaste, all of you. I am Lokesh, Assistant Professor, Department of Commerce, Soundarya Institute of Management and Science. Today I am discussing about depository, which is comes under in the stock and commodity market. In a depositories, meaning advantages of depository services, depositories in India, role and services of NSDL and CSDL in the capital market, dematerialization, Demat account, how Demat account works, procedure or process of dematerialization and rematerialization. First and foremost, what do you mean by depository? An effective and fully developed depository system is essential for maintaining and enhancing the efficiency of a capital market. Depository is an institution or kind of organization which holds the investor securities in the form of electronic book records. It avoids the risk associated with paper is called depository. Depository system whereby the transfer and settlement of scripts take place through the modern system which eliminates paperwork, facilitates automatic and transparent trading in scripts and settlement period. It is also known as scriptless trading system. So now we understood about the depository. Before introduction of depository system, the problems faced by investors, not only the investors, corporates in handling large volume of paper were as follows. There are few problems: delays in transfer, bad deliveries, fake certificates, loss of certificates in transit, long settlement cycle, mismatch of signatures, delay in refund and remission of dividend, etc. These are all the problems were we faced before introduction of the depository system. Now, advantages of the depository services. There are many of advantages, mainly uh, it reduction of paperwork. Obviously, after introducing the depository system, there is no paperwork or manual work. Everything is in the everything is deposit in the form of electronic book record, so it obviously reduces the paperwork, elimination of the all risk associated with the physical certificates, there is no stamp duty, minimize the chances of fraud, theft of securities. Earlier there is a more chances for the fraud, theft of securities or bonds, debentures, but when introduced the depository system, there is no chances for all those. Then this electronic media will shorter settlement time, quick transfer of funds and securities. For example, earlier if you want to buy the shares or sell the shares, it will take long duration, and funds also it will be debited or credited in our account late. Then provides more acceptability and liquidity of shares. Liquidity is nothing but here liquidity means easily conversion into the cash without the loss of value of an asset. For example, if you buy a shares, each share value is 100 rupees. I buy 10 shares, 100 rupees into 10, 1000 rupees. If you sell that shares or buy that shares, easily it will convert into the cash without loss of value of an asset. I mean, I'll repeat, if I buy 10 shares, each share value is 100, then it will deposit to our account. If you sell the same shares, that will also deposit into account. I mean, credit into account. Then faster payment in case of sale of shares also. So these are all the various advantages of depository services. Let us move to the depositories in India. Presently, there are two depositories working in India. One is National Securities Depository Limited. Second one is Central Securities Depository Limited. NSDL, it was registered by the SEBI, Security and Exchange Board of India, on June 7, 1996 as India's first depository to facilitate trading and settlement of securities in the Demat form. It is promoted by IDBI, Industrial Development Bank of India, UTI, United Trust of India, NSC, National Stock Exchange, etc. One more is CSDL, Central Securities Depository Limited. It commenced its operations during February 1999 and was promoted by Stock Exchange Mumbai in association with Bank of Baroda, Bank of India, SBI, and HDFC Bank. Then, what is the role of NSDL and CSDL in the capital market? NSDL and CSDL play an important role in the Indian stock market, I mean in the capital market. They are promoted mainly by NSE and BSE respectively, provide depository services for electronic trading of securities, both equity and debt. Equity is the shares, debt is the debentures or bonds. These two depositories maintain details of shares and debt instruments in electronic format after dematerialization. The basic activities of these two organizations may be compared to that of banks, just as banks maintains cash deposits and provide all services relating to the electronic settlement of trading in shares and debt instruments. Next, services of NSDL and CSDL or CDSL. There are five services. The first one is account maintenance. NSDL and even CSDL, an approved intermediary has to open a NSDL depository account or CSDL depository account with any of its DP. DP is nothing but a depository participant. Next, we'll discuss about this concept, DP. Dematerialization. Dematerialization is the process by which a client can get physical certificates converted into electronic balances. Regarding dematerialization, we'll discuss in detail in the coming slide. Rematerialization. Rematerialization is opposite to the dematerialization. It means the process by which a client can get his electronic holdings converted into physical certificates. Next one is inter-depository transfers. Inter-depository transfer of securities from an account in one depository to an account in another depository is called term as an inter-depository transfer. Last one is transmission. The word transmission means devolution of title of shares otherwise than by transfer, while transfer of shares relates to a voluntary act of the shareholder transmission is brought about by operation of law. These are all the services of NSDL and CDSL. Let us move to the constituents of a depository system. There are few things in the constituents of a depository system. The first one is depository, depository participant, the beneficial owner, the issuer, stock exchange and stockbrokers, clearing corporations, banking system, investors. Dear friends, already we discussed about the first depository. Depository is an institution or kind of organization which holds the securities of investors in the form of electronic book entries. It avoids the risk associated with paper is called depositories. Second one, DP, depository participant, is an agent of the depository and functions as the interacting medium between the depository and the investor. See, depository it's a system. In that system, there is a one agent has to work as a interact or medium between the depository and investor. This is a this is called depository participant. The depository participant he has to be registered with the Security Exchange Board of India. The DP is responsible for maintaining the investor securities account with the depository and handles them as per the investors returns instructions. He has to followed by investors instructions and interact with the depository system. Already I told you he is linked to a broker who trades on behalf of the investors. As per SEBI regulations, financial institutions, even stockbrokers or any banks, etc., can become a depository participant. Who can become a depository participant means, according to the SEBI, even financial institutions, banks, or any stockbrokers. Investor can choose any one DP or more than one, that is investor's choice. Already I told you the two depositories in India, that is one is NSDL and CSDL. Third one is the beneficial owner. Beneficial owner is a person in whose name a Demat account is opened with CSDL or NSDL for the purpose of holding securities in the electronic form, and whose name is recorded with CSDL or NSDL. He is the real owner of the securities and he has all the rights and liabilities associated with the securities. Fourth one is the issuer. Issuer means what? The issuer is nothing but who is the issuer is the company which issues the securities. Which company is going to issue the shares? They are the issuer. It maintains a register for recording the names of the registered owners of securities. The issuer sends a list of shareholders who opt for the depository system to the depository. Next one is stock exchange and stockbrokers. Stock exchange is nothing but it's organized market for dealing in securities. Commonly, we can call it the stock market, secure capital market, or secondary market also. Stockbrokers are the members of stock exchange primarily engaged in two main activities. One is we know buying and selling for the securities for their charging a commission. Clearing corporations is a financial institution which provides the services as clearing and settlement for commodities and financial derivatives and securities transactions. Then there is a banking system. Depository essentially plays dual role of depository and a limited bank. It maintains the current account for the participants and executes fund transactions relating to securities transactions for participants. Then investor, he may be individual, corporates, anything else. These are all the constituents of a depository system. After this, let us go for dematerialization or Demat account. It means conversion of the physical certificate into the dematerialized holdings at the request of the investors. Conversion of the physical certificate into the dematerialized holdings at the request of the investor. Demat account or dematerialized account is an account that holds the shares and securities of an individual in an electronic form. When an individual indulges in trading or investing in shares or securities, all the transactions are done through the Demat account. I'll give an example for this. I'll put it in another way. Just like the banks hold the money of the individuals, similarly, Demat account holds the shares and securities of the individual in the account. How Demat account works? SEBI Security Exchange Board of India has made compulsory trading of shares of all the companies listed in stock exchanges in Demat form from 2nd June 2002. Hence, if the investor wants to trade in respect of the companies which have established connectivity with NSDL and CSDL, he may have to open a Demat account. Second one is Demat account or beneficiary account opened by the investor or a broker with a depository participant of his choice. It's his choice to hold shares in Demat form and undertake scriptless trading. Once Demat account is opened, investor must sign an agreement with the depository participant and the investor will be allotted an account number is called a client identity. No minimum balance is required. The investor is provided with a transaction statement by his DP at regular intervals based on which the investor will know his security balances. For opening Demat account, the following documents are required. Probably you have to submit the address proof, to photocopy, you have to duly filled by DRF form, I mean Demat opening form, duly filled. This is the document. These are all the documents are required for opening of a Demat account. The next is very important. Procedure or process of dematerialization. There are few procedures in opening of the dematerialization. The first one is investor opens account with the DP. For example, I am an investor or XYZ is an investor. He has to open the account with the help of depository participant only. Already we know the depository participant is nothing but is an agent. He is a medium or interacting between the investors as well as depository. He is called depository participant. So as an investor, he has to open an account with the help of depository participant. It is an investor's choice. Investor can open either NSDL or CSDL whatever it is. Then fills DRF for registered shares. I mean, investor has filled the dematerialization request form to be submitted to the DP who intimates depository of the request. Then investor lodges the DRF and certificates with the DP. Then depository participant updates the investor's account and informs the investors. Here DP intimates the depository system because he has to work under the DP as a medium. Then depository intimates the registrar or issuer. Here depository, that system or institution or kind of organization what we discussed earlier, that intimates the registrar, update the records to the issuer. Then depository participant send certificates and DRF, dematerialized request form, to the registrar or issuer. Then registrar or issuer confirms the demat account to the depository. Once the registrar and or issuer satisfied the records, then they will confirm the demat account directly to the depository. Once the company is admitted into depository system, an ISIN, International Securities Identification Number, is allotted by the depository. This is number unique for each security of the company that is admitted in the depository. Finally, depository credits investor's account. So these are all the process. The entire process takes about 15 days time. Otherwise, if the large number of the certificates are submitted from institutions, it takes up to 30 days for demat accounts. For this one, I'll give an example. If you want to open the dematerialization account or demat account, you can contact any one of the stock brokerage. For example, Zerodha. If you contact, they will send the link. You have to open that link, fill your mobile number and various instructions which already given in the Zerodha account. Then you have to pay 300 rupees for this registration. You have to upload the Aadhaar card, PAN card, and within 2 days you can start your business based on the certain criteria. Now we'll go for rematerialization. Rematerialization, it is conversion of demat holdings back into the certificates. I mean, it is opposite to the dematerialization. Rematerialization is the process by which a client can get his electronic holdings converted into physical certificates. A client can rematerialize his dematerialized holdings at any point of time, but in India we don't have any rematerialization system, so it is a fully opposite. I mean, which is not a dematerialized, that is a rematerialization, conversion of the demat holdings back into the physical certificates. I hope everybody would understand about the depository system in India, how many DP, depository participants, how it will work, what is Demat account, what are the procedures or steps of opening up a Demat account, then finally rematerialization. Thank you one and all.